Right now, a familiar sight. Donald Trump made his way back to Wisconsin for his fourth campaign event in just 8 days. And the Bridging the Gap event as Madison College aimed to teach attendees about representation in the media space. Plus, the Madison community showed their support today at a Walk to End Alzheimer's event. That's all coming up on News 3 Now at 10. Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jalen Banks. The race for Wisconsin for this year's election continues as former President Donald Trump makes a stop in Juneau today. This marking his fourth visit to the Badger State in just a little over a week. Our Merrill Hubbard breaks down what the former president said.
This is former President Trump's fourth campaign stop here in Wisconsin within just the last 9 days.
Wisconsin is probably the toughest of the swing states to win. I don't think so.
Values that Dodge County holds line up with the Republican Party.
Though Trump has made previous visits to more blue-leaning areas such as Dane County, this time he visited a Republican stronghold in the state. In 2020, Trump won 65% of the vote in Dodge County.
There are very few politicians out there that support law enforcement the way that Donald Trump does. Donald Trump is that law and order candidate.
Dale Schmidt is the Dodge County sheriff, and as an elected official, he supports the Republican Party and Trump's campaign.
Best president ever.
Sheriff Schmidt and a squad of officers were highlighted on the big stage, along with Republican Senate challenger candidate Eric Hovde and incumbent Senator Ron Johnson. Throughout his almost 2-hour-long remarks, Trump touched on his typical talking points with a heavy emphasis on crime and law and order. While people in Dodge County voiced their Republican values, Republicans for Harris voiced their values in response to Trump's visit to Juneau.
Donald Trump has pushed me and so many others away from the party that I once believed in. I also agree with Representative Cheney when she said that Donald Trump's willingness to violate the law and Constitution in order to seize power for himself on January 26 showed depravity, and we must never become numb to it.
The latest Marquette Law School poll shows Harris with a 4-point edge, and that's accounting the survey's margin of error. Reporting in Juneau, Merrill Hubbard, News 3 Now.
Merrill, thank you. Former President Trump also made remarks about Governor Evers, saying the governor doesn't work hard and is, quote, lousy. President Joe Biden will also be returning to Wisconsin this week on Tuesday with plans to stop in Milwaukee to tout his administration's work in job creation and replacing lead pipes. He will then head to Philadelphia for another trip. Further details about the president's visit were not immediately made clear, but we will bring you the latest information as we learn more. First Lady of Minnesota Gwen Walz is making her way over the border to the Badger State. The First Lady of Minnesota will travel to Madison and Beloit on Wednesday. These will be her 6th and 7th campaign stops in Wisconsin since her husband, Governor Tim Walz, joined the Democratic ticket. The campaign says she will speak on abortion rights and taxes. Walz's Beloit stop will be at 10 a.m. and the Madison event will be at noon. Locations have not yet been released. Keep an eye out on our website at channel3000.com where we'll bring you the latest information. A pretty cool day this Sunday. Let's go to look at your first warn forecast with meteorologist Blaze Keller, who's out on the weather patio. Blaze, I'm digging the jacket.
Thank you. I am a little chilly out here, so I wanted to have the jacket on, and it's going to be a cooler night. We put it on social media, so if you haven't shared it already, you can. If you haven't moved in the plans, you might want to this evening, especially further north, because we have another round of frost advisories, and for some of us, it's our first one in nearly 350 days. Beginning to slip into the low 40s around Spring Green. We're at 48 in Janesville, 43 Camp Douglas, 53 in Belleville, Madison, 51 in Sparta underneath the clear sky. The clear skies coupled with the northwesterly winds and the dry air is the reason why we are going to not only get cold, but have these wind chill values even colder. We'll touch on that here in just a moment. But there's a look at the frost advisory starting at 1 a.m. on Monday, lasting through 9 a.m. on Monday. Our actual air temperatures will probably be somewhere in the mid to upper 30s underneath those clear conditions, a bit breezy at times. But take a look at, with those northwesterly winds and the clear skies, what it will feel like or could feel like as we're waking up on your Monday. Taking the kids to school, heading off to work, upper 20s to low 30s. Make sure that you've got a jacket on. The kids have a jacket as well. But they're not going to need it by the afternoon because we're back into those low to mid 60s with plenty of sunshine for your Monday. The dry pattern continues, but 80s return on Friday. We're going to track out this pretty quiet week. We'll touch on Milton, of course, as well in the full forecast.
All right, Blaze, we'll see you then. The Pack are back in action this Sunday, this time out west in L.A. Jordan Love's second game back since suffering his knee injury. Could they get it done out in L.A.? Our Andrew Bancher joins us with more. Andrew?
Yeah, Jalen, that's exactly right. This was a really big one, trying to get over 500 for the season and get Jordan Love his first win of the season. And in a big game like this, you've got to craft a special plan. And for the Packers, that came in the third quarter. Green Bay up 4, and there he is, Tucker Kraft, into the end zone. Give me some cheese on that. He would score 2 touchdowns on the day, and the Packers win a close one, 24-19, the final score.
Anytime you got a quarterback of Matthew Stafford's caliber, you're probably going to be in for a dogfight, and that's exactly what it was today. And I'm happy that our guys showed the resiliency that we need to have and that you have to have in order to go on the road and win. It's never easy winning this league, and I told them enjoy it, but there's plenty to work on and plenty to improve upon.
We will have much more on the Pack's big day and Kraft's career day, not to mention the defense that set him up, coming up later in sports.
All right, Andrew, we'll see you then. For the first time in nearly 3 decades, Camp Randall will host a concert. Coldplay will make their way to Madison as part of their Music of the Spheres World Tour. An exact date has not yet been announced, but the Madison stop will be in 2025. More information about the event is expected to be released on Tuesday. The last time a concert played at Camp Randall was in 1997 with the Rolling Stones. The Alzheimer's Association invited the community to join a walking event to honor those we've lost and those currently battling the disease. The walk was hosted in Madison's Warner Park this morning. Star Wars characters and superheroes came out to show their support. Our very own Brady Mallory emceed the event. You can still donate to support the cause. More information can be found by visiting their website at alz.org. Madison Police Department is investigating after multiple reports of gunfire overnight. MPD says officers responded to West Gilman Street around 2 a.m. where officers discovered one person with a non-life-threatening gunshot wound. The victim was transported to a local hospital for treatment. Details surrounding the shooting remain unclear, and an investigation is currently ongoing. MPD is urging anyone with information to come forward. Dozens met at Madison Area Technical College to network and fight for inclusivity in the media space. News 3 Now is a proud sponsor. Our Tanisha Shaw spoke to organizers about the impact events like this can have.
I think it's just such an important conversation to have because there's a lot of fear, right?
Community leaders and college students gathered to learn more about the media and the AANHPI communities.
There's a lot of mistrust that brings about conversations with the media, especially people who are scared to speak up because they're afraid of how that information will be transferred or how that information will be articulated.
AANHPI stands for Asian American, Native, Hawaiian, and Pacific Islanders, a group that is often underrepresented in spaces like the media, whether it's on TV, radio, or in the paper.
Media is a really great way to connect with different stories and just learn new things, and it sucks that if only one story is ever represented.
News 3 Now attended the event hosted by the Very Asian Foundation and the Vincent Chin Institute to learn more about the community. Our very own Arman Rahman spoke at the event.
My father is from Kolkata, in India. My mom is from Iran. Really want to get our stories out there and make sure that those stories that are untold.
Events like this are important because they provide what some may call a seat at the table, proving that representation goes a long way.
There's a lot of misconceptions on people's experiences, and so this is just an opportunity for folks to learn that, hey, maybe it went this way one time, but you could always figure it out and learn a different way.
Organizers say this is the first time they made an event like this, and they plan to hold more of these networking events across the country, but Madison is the perfect city to try it out at. Reporting in Madison, Tanisha Shaw, News 3 Now.
Tanisha, thank you. Still to come on your News 3 Now at 10. To help slim down your coffee spending, Consumer Reports looks to find an espresso machine that's just right for you. And police officers express sadness but relief as the investigation into Elijah Vu case continues.
We're
worked as a truck driver for 36 years.
And then one day I got this letter.
Your retirement will be cut.
Will be cut in half.
You don't forget something like that.
Every paycheck we put money away. But because of Wall Street greed, boom, it was gone.
But Tammy Baldwin saw what they were doing and wrote a bill to save our retirement.
Then she fought like hell to pass it.
What Tammy Baldwin did for our families, you don't forget something like that.
I'm Tammy Baldwin, and I approve this message.
Kamala Harris is going to significantly raise taxes.
Taxes are going to have to go up?
Kamala's plan will raise families' taxes by nearly $2,600 a year. Under Kamala, prices have already soared. Now she'd make it worse with even higher taxes.
Taxes are going to have to go up?
President Trump will cut taxes again. No taxes on tips, overtime, or Social Security.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
I'm Joan Balwig, and here at the shop, we have solutions, both big and small. And that's why I fought in Madison for historically large increases for our fire, police, and EMS, and made sure that our small businesses had the permits that they needed to operate. I delivered millions for ag and rural road funding and created the one-day fishing license. I brought both sides together to make sure that our kids can both read and write. And those are both really big things, but you get the idea.
At Janesville Nissan, we treat our customers the way we want to be treated. It's in everything we do and every deal we make. You won't find that at most other dealerships. Come see why you'll feel great buying a vehicle from Janesville Nissan. Exceptional savings, award-winning service.
Caregivers are the heart of our communities. Start your caregiving career with free training, certification, and a $500 bonus. It's never been easier to become a certified direct care professional. WISC Caregiver Careers is a free program to train and reward caring individuals who wish to pursue careers in healthcare. Certified direct care professionals help older adults or people who have a disability. Sign up for training no matter your age or work experience. Free online training and a $500 bonus. Learn more at WISCCaregiversCDCP.com.
It's your thing. When you need inspiration, it's worth shopping Pick and Save. For thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals. And low prices that add up to big savings, like over $600 in digital coupons each week, and up to $2 off per gallon at the pump. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Pick and Save, fresh for everyone.
The impact of the black vote can largely change elections.
And I'm meeting with the local voters that can play that pivotal role. We'll learn what matters most to them and what each candidate must do to earn their support.
3 for the People, Monday at 6. You're watching News 3 Now at 10. Moving forward.
Monday will mark a month since the remains of Elijah Vu were identified. The investigation into what happened to the toddler is moving forward. The 3-year-old's remains were found on September 7th, more than 6 months after he was reported missing from the Two Rivers apartment. Emily Matesic reports.
This is not the outcome that we hoped for. The family's devastated, we're devastated, our community's devastated.
That was Two Rivers Police Chief Ben Minor last month. He was publicly confirming skeletal remains found in the woods on private land. Just a few miles from where Elijah Vu was reported missing were, in fact, the toddlers. The announcement ending a lengthy and emotional search for the boy by the community that continues to remember him and the law enforcement agency that continues to investigate his death.
How are you guys doing?
I would say on a whole, the department, there's a sense of it's sadness but relief. It's obviously not the outcome we wanted, but it does bring closure to finally finding Elijah. And now it just comes the part of talking about what happened and improving what happened.
Two Rivers Police wouldn't speak specifically about the ongoing investigation, but they did say they are determined to get justice for Elijah Vu.
We already had an investigation we're working on based on the evidence that we had. So obviously I can't speak to what that is, or those details will be coming eventually. But yes, the investigation has been ongoing since. We've been collecting the evidence, building a case along those lines. So
Two Rivers Police investigators are working daily on the case. And they continue to partner with local, state, and federal agencies, too. Much like the public had helped search for Elijah Vu since February, police continue to encourage anyone with information on the case to speak up.
If something were to come up, somebody remembers something, somebody sees something on a video, by all means bring it forward.
It will ultimately be up to the district attorney's office to decide when to file any additional charges in Elijah Vu's death. The Two Rivers Police saying they're working hand in hand with the DA's office as thousands of pages of reports and evidence are being reviewed.
The status of Jesse Vang's case will be renewed and reviewed again on November 6th. Now let's get a look at your first one forecast with meteorologist Blaze Keller. Blaze.
Well, we're continuing to see this dry pattern persist across not only southern Wisconsin and the state itself, but a lot of the Midwest and the plains, and really a lot of the United States for that matter. Next 6 to 10 days, we sit in that 30 to 40%, if not 40 to 50% chance of being drier than normal. And that extends even to October 20th. We're still sitting underneath that drier than normal trend. The Climate Prediction Center's 2-week forecast keeps us dry, and even beyond that, their experimental 3 to 4 week outlook begins to maybe break this down. So that would take us through the start of November. So why is this happening? It's because of two persistent large areas of pressure. You've got a low pressure system sitting off the coast of Alaska, and you've got a high pressure system sitting off the west coast, primarily to the west of California. As winds turn clockwise around a high pressure system, they're meeting counterclockwise winds going around this big area of low pressure. They're essentially creating a corridor for only the polar jet to move through, and that's pushing systems coming out of the Pacific into Canada, where they rain themselves out. There's no big area of moisture for them to continue to remain moist. Obviously, the ocean is where they're picking up a lot of their moisture coming into the United States. So they dry out over Canada, and as they move back into the United States, they bring us down drier air, sometimes cooler air, and what typically follows is this high pressure system, or a series of high pressure systems, and they act like our fair weather friend, like a big weather shield, which is why we really don't see rain when we're underneath a high pressure system. So until this whole thing breaks down, which may not be any sooner than November 1st, we're going to continue to remain drier than normal. Eyes are also on Hurricane Milton, a Category 1 hurricane, quickly becoming a Category 4 hurricane by Tuesday morning, Category 3 within the next 24 hours. Its latest path continues to keep it moving into the Tampa Bay area by Wednesday, mid to late afternoon as a Category 3 hurricane. But up until that point, he could be a still major hurricane as Category 4. The reason is because there's not a lot of up and down movement in the air to really tear him apart, not to mention the Gulf of Mexico sea surface temperatures are trending about 1 to, say, 3 degrees warmer than average. So he has a lot of energy to use and strengthen, which he's going to do in the next 24 hours, going from a Category 1 to Category 3 hurricane. Again, folks, if you got friends or family in the Florida area, please make sure that they're staying up to date through their trusted weather source. Back at home, we're hanging out in the 60s tomorrow after a cool start. Reminder, we do have frost advisories out there for some of our counties this evening. Upper 30s to low 40s as the kids are heading off to school or you're heading off to work. A light jacket may be needed, to say the least, but we're heading home in the low 60s. Now, interestingly enough, today is actually the first time the Madison area has seen its earliest 1/100th of an inch of snowfall. Actually, it was about a ½ inch to be exact, back on October 6th of 1964. Typically, now that we have to talk about snow, since it is October, we average about a ½ inch of snow throughout the month. But back in 2019, we got over 8 inches of snow in October. But no snow in the forecast. Rain may return by Friday. That's when we're back into those upper 70s to low 80s. And Jalen, we'll keep our fingers crossed that those rain chances, while 20%, stick around as we head into our upcoming weekend.
So real quick on the snow thing. So a good portion of my upbringing, I lived in Minnesota. Okay. My birthday is October 3rd. Okay. And my 4th birthday party was canceled because of a snowstorm.
It's crazy. Yeah. I mean, now we have to go from rain and severe weather to snow. So we'll keep our fingers crossed that maybe we get some here soon.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, sounds good. Thank you, Blaze. If your love of lattes is taking a toll on your bank account, and I'm sure that's the case for many of you out there, maybe you're considering an espresso machine for your home. There are many pro-style machines, but can they really deliver an authentic coffee shop flavor in your home. Consumer Reports brews up some buying advice for the caffeinated among us.
Getting your daily caffeine fix at your favorite coffee shop costs you hundreds of dollars every year. An alternative could be an espresso machine for your home, but those aren't always budget-friendly either. Consumer Reports' Molly Bradley recently looked at 9 espresso machines.
Well, these machines require a certain skill level for you to operate them. You need to learn how to grind the beans to a certain consistency, pack the portafilter, and you'll need to learn how to operate the steam wand, which all the machines we tested have.
Here's what Consumer Reports was looking for in a good at-home espresso machine.
We were looking for them to be able to produce a good balanced espresso, and we also wanted to make sure that their steam wands were capable of producing a fine microfoam that you could use to make lattes, cappuccinos, and even latte art.
Those with barista experience may appreciate this Rancilio Silvia Pro X for its beautiful design. But $2,000 is a lot to spend on a countertop appliance. If your espresso skills are more basic, consider this Breville Bambino Plus.
Breville's Bambino is really easy to operate. Even beginners would have a hard time not getting a good espresso from this machine.
Although this $90 DeLonghi lacks the fancy features and sleeker look of the higher-end machines, it's simple to operate and produces a perfectly fine espresso. But there are even simpler options still for espresso lovers. In CR's test, this coffee machine, from the same brand that makes the famous Instant Pot, earned top scores for brewing temperature, speed, and convenience.
You can make espresso, and you can make larger servings of coffee using different kinds of pods for each. And you don't need to know anything about making espresso.
This is Teresa Hope.
Consumer Reports says consider pairing your coffee maker with a milk frother and you'll have a little cafe right at home. CR's recent evaluations found several frothers that do a great job frothing both milk and non-dairy. Alternatives including Instant's $30 milk frother. And coming up in sports, Andrew's back with a full breakdown from the Packers' West Coast trip to LA next on News 3 Now.
News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
Discover a shopping and design experience as comfortable as the furniture. Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Schedule your free design consultation today.
They've been rocking audiences for decades. It's Foghat. Performing live November 30th at Ho-Chunk Gaming, Wisconsin Dells.
I just want to make
with special guest, the Empty Pockets. Tickets are on sale now through Ticketmaster. Legendary rock band Foghat. Live in concert November 30th at Ho-Chunk Gaming, Wisconsin Dells. Your odds are better here.
I'm a nurse in Wisconsin, and my patients don't want politicians like Eric Hovde making their healthcare decisions.
I am totally opposed to abortion.
Hovde means what he says about opposing reproductive rights.
Eric Hovde supported overturning Roe v. Wade, which led to an abortion ban in Wisconsin.
And that's a ban with no exceptions for rape or incest.
What Hovde supports criminalizes abortion and doctors like me.
We need to vote against Eric Hovde.
WIN Senate is responsible for the content of this ad.
When my husband got throat cancer, it wasn't just a health crisis. It was a financial one for my family. And that's something rural families know all too well. Joan Ballwig voted against expanding affordable health care for rural families and against bringing drug costs down. And that's one reason I decided to run against her. I'm Sarah Kieski, and I'm running for state senate. Because when someone you love needs medical care, the last thing you should have to worry about is how to pay for it.
Senator Baldwin claims she's doing something about the fentanyl crisis and says she got a major fentanyl bill passed. But Senator Baldwin is lying. The bill's main sponsor, Senator Tim Scott, had this to say.
As the primary sponsor, I've never had a single conversation with Cammie about this bill, period.
Career politicians like Senator Baldwin are always lying about something. Senator Baldwin, she's extreme, radical, and wrong.
I'm Eric Hovde, and I approve this message.
My name is George.
My name is Anna.
My name is Latanya.
And it didn't cost me a thing.
Zero. Zilch.
Not a thing to call Gruber Law Offices. I did not have to pay $1.
Zero. Nothing. Nada.
When I called Gruber Law Offices.
I just made the call and they took care of everything.
It was free.
Zero. Nada.
Not a thing.
I can call them and not have to pay anything.
That was the best feeling ever.
There's never a fee until we win.
free.
Nothing? Not a thing.
They say post it or it didn't happen. But out here, in the places we were made for, you'll have to take our word for it. Find somewhere the internet's never been. With a family of Broncos designed to get you there.
Lease a new Ford Bronco for $399 a month for 36 months, only at your local Wisconsin Ford dealer.
When it comes to football, you will often hear people talk about playing complementary football. And if you're not quite sure what that means, the Packers put on a perfect example of it today in L.A. The defense setting up the offense, both sides of the ball complementing each other. Packers trailing 13-10 in the third quarter, and there goes Green Bay's X Factor. Xavier McKinney recovers the fumble and sets the offense up, which is just exactly where Tucker Kraft comes into play. The electric second-year tight end out of South Dakota State, a 66-yard touchdown catch and run. Check out the stiff arm. The Packers take a 17-13 lead, but McKinney, he wasn't done. He had an interception in each of his first 4 games as a Packer. Make it 5. A McKinney masterpiece. Unbelievable. And after a long return, it sets up the offense, who ordered a big old bowl of Tucker Kraft and cheese. He finds the end zone once more. Green Bay wins a big one, 24-19. Jordan Love does just enough, and the rest of his team picked him up, especially Tucker Kraft, who caught everyone's eye today.
He works nonstop. He's relentless, and he's got a great mindset. And the guy, that's all he does. He just shows up, he works, he gets better. It's been really cool to see him blossom. I think the more confidence he's gotten, the better he's done. He's just a tough-minded dude, and it's been really cool to watch a guy and see the growth and development.
When you hear the term UW, you obviously think the University of Wisconsin, right? Well, believe it or not, a lot of people, especially on the West Coast, believe that the real UW is Washington. The Badgers welcomed the Huskies to Madison today to find out once and for all who the real UW is. The pair's first meeting as Big Ten foes. Set point for Bucky, and Charlie Furbringer puts it where only Anna Smrek can get it. It is a W for UW in the first set. And then in the second, Robinson can't get it to go. But how about the reigning National Player of the Year? Sarah Franklin slams it home, and the Badgers show the world who the real UW is. They win it in straight sets. We'll be right back.
What have we got?
The Andersons. All night, tossing and turning, bad backs, sleep score at an all-time low.
Round up the team.
At Denver Mattress, going undercover is literally how we solve problems.
And we find sleepers waking up with aches and pains. We turn to the Tempur-Pedic Adapt, designed for ultimate pressure relief that uniquely adapts to your body's pressure points. The Tempur Adapt features innovative technology, so you get deep, undisturbed rest all night long.
Denver Mattress, the easiest way to get the right Tempur-Pedic.
Are undocumented immigrants that are the least likely to commit a crime.
Meet Edwin Ramos. This illegal immigrant murdered 3 Americans. An MS-13 gang member, Ramos was arrested for a gun crime. But as DA, Kamala didn't prosecute him. Months later, Ramos murdered a man and his 2 sons in cold blood.
Are undocumented immigrants that are the least likely to commit a crime.
Preserve America PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
You expect your healthcare provider to take the time to listen to you, to learn more about you and why you came in. That's the care you expect, and that's the care we deliver at Upland Hills Health. Whether it's in our Dodgeville Hospital or at one of our 7 clinics, our skilled doctors and healthcare professionals personalize care for you and every member of your family. Upland Hills Health Hospital and Clinics, the care you expect, close to home.
President Trump, you have long vowed to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act.
If we come up with something, we're going to do it, and we're going to replace it.
You still do not have a plan.
I have concepts of a plan. There are concepts and options we have To do that,
You have no plan. When Donald Trump was president, he tried to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. And what the Affordable Care Act has done is eliminate the ability of insurance companies to deny people with pre-existing conditions. You remember what that was like? We, over the last 4 years, have strengthened the Affordable Care Act, and now we have capped the cost of insulin at $35 a month. We have capped the cost of prescription medication for seniors at $2,000 a year. And when I am president, we will do that for all people, understanding that access to health care should be a right and not just a privilege of those who can afford it. I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
Career politicians like Peter Barca will say anything to get elected. His latest negative ad against Brian Style has been called blatantly false. The truth, Style has always supported IVF. He co-sponsored a resolution supporting IVF. And Style backs legislation to help families afford IVF. Peter Barca can sling mud, but we deserve better than just another lying career politician.
I'm Brian Style, and I approve this message.
In the 608, weekdays only on News 3 Now this morning.
So it felt today as if we were like in fall.
I know.
Are
Tomorrow will be, I mean, technically, I think, but we're going to be back in the 80s by Friday.
Okay.
If you're going to head out there tonight, clear skies. It's going to be chilly, but Rick out of Wanakee got a photo of the Northern Lights. They're pretty this evening. Again, grab the light jacket if you're going to be out there. Set the exposure for long so we can get those photos. Submit them to us. Quiet this week. A little bit cool tomorrow morning.
Sounds good. We'll see you back here tomorrow. And thank you, Rick.